Good morning, everyone. Turn to page 1 in your prayer book and we'll begin. All mothers, sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation in all-knowingness, may they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Buddhahood. Thus, until I achieve enlightenment, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until death, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. All sentient beings, limitless as the sky, take refuge in the glorious kind Lama Vajradhara, the embodiment of the body, speech, mind, qualities, and activities of the Buddhas of the 10 directions and the 3 times, source of the 84,000 categories of the teaching, and Lord of the Sanghas. We take refuge in the kind root Lama and lineage Lamas. We take refuge in the deities of the mandalas of the Idams. We take refuge in all the exalted Buddhas. We take refuge in the perfect Dharma. We take refuge in the excellent order of the Sanghas. We take refuge in all the noble Dakas, Dakinis, and Dharma guardians, possessors of the eye of wisdom. So Until I attain the heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in all the Buddhas. I take refuge in the Dharma and likewise in the assembly of the Bodhisattvas. As the previous Buddhas embraced the enlightened mind and progressed on the Bodhisattva's path, I too, for the benefit of all sentient beings, give birth to bodhicitta and apply myself to accomplish the stages of the path. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. Refuge of all sentient beings without exception, divine subjugator of terrifying Maras, together with their hosts of demons, the one who understands all realities without exception exactly as they are, transcendent conqueror, together with your disciples, please come here to this place. The ground is sprinkled with scented water and strewn with flowers. It is adorned with Meru, the supreme mountain, the 4 continents, and the sun and moon. As a Buddha field I offer it. May all sentient beings attain the happiness of the Buddha fields. Whatever merit I've gathered through prostrations, offerings, confession, rejoicing, beseeching, and praying, for the sake of the enlightenment of all sentient beings, all this I dedicate. Okay, now to page 11. Namo, to the Lama of utterly pure appearance and existence, I offer the fundamental ground of appearance and existence. I supplicate you to thoroughly liberate the 3 realms. Please grant your blessings and overturn the depths of samsara. Sublime Master, wish-fulfilling jewel, crown ornament, the inconceivable, inexpressible mind of the victorious ones, the one endowed with the 5 wisdoms of omniscience, gracious one, the embodiment of love, precious protector of beings, I supplicate you from within the essence of mind. Please grant your blessings from within the innate nature. Please bless me that I may realize the Dharmakaya that is beyond intellect, this primordially unborn, completely pure mind. Transcendent conqueror, the one thus gone, foe destroyer of afflictive emotions, completely perfected Buddha, endowed with logic and virtue, the one gone to bliss, knower of the world, captain, tamer of beings, the unexcelled teacher of gods and men, I respectfully prostrate, completely touching my head to the stainless feet of the unequaled Shakya king. At the time of your birth, leader of 2-legged beings, taking 7 steps on this great earth you proclaim, I am supreme in this world. To you who were wise even then, I prostrate. Possessing a body of complete purity, your sublime form is excellent. An ocean of primordial wisdom, you are like a golden mountain, the one whose renown is evident throughout the 3 worlds, protector of supreme attainment. To you I prostrate. To you who are endowed with the supreme marks, whose face is like an immaculate moon, to you, the one with a complexion like gold, I prostrate. A flawless one such as you among the 3 levels of existence is most exquisite. Unparalleled omniscient one, to you I prostrate. Supreme among humans, captain of those to be tamed, the one thus gone who severs the all-binding fetters, who with senses pacified is utterly pacified and skilled in peace, to that one, the one who dwelled at Travasti, I prostrate. Refuge endowed with great compassion, totally omniscient one who indicates the way, ground bases for oceans of merit and qualities, I prostrate to the one thus gone. The pure cause free from attachments, the virtue that liberates from the lower realms, the altogether supreme ultimate truth, to the pacifying Dharma I prostrate. Having been liberated, they also reveal the path to liberation. Thoroughly respectful of the 3 higher trainings, they are a field of sublime qualities, To the Sangha I also prostrate. And then to page 9. And to page 15. I prostrate to the youthful Manjusri, to those in the worlds of the 10 directions, however many there are, all the lions among humans who appear during the 3 times. To all of them without exception, I pay homage with respectful body, speech, and mind. The force of my aspiration prayer for excellent conduct brings all the victorious ones directly to mind. bowing down with bodies as numerous as atoms in the realms, I prostrate to all the victorious ones. In a single atom there are Buddhas as numerous as atoms, each residing in the midst of their sons and daughters. Like that, I imagine the whole Dharmatatu completely filled with victorious ones. To those with oceans of inexhaustible, praiseworthy qualities, with sounds containing oceans of tones of melodic speech, I express the qualities of all the victorious ones. I praise all the Sugatas. With the finest flowers, the finest garlands, music, ointments, supreme parasols, supreme lamps, and the finest incense, I make offerings to the victorious ones. With the finest cloth, supreme scents, and fine powders equal to Mount Meru, all displayed in supreme and magnificent ways, I make offerings to those victorious ones. With vast and unsurpassable offerings, I venerate all the victorious ones. Through the power of faith and excellent conduct, I prostrate and offer to the victorious ones. Whatever negative actions I have performed with body, speech, and also mind, overpowered by desire, aggression, and stupidity, I confess each and every one of them. I rejoice in everyone's merit. The victorious ones of the 10 directions, the Bodhisattvas, the Pratyeka Buddhas, those in training, those beyond training, and all beings. I request the protectors, the lamps of the worlds of the 10 directions, who, passing through the stages of awakening, attain Buddhahood beyond attachment, to turn the unsurpassable Dharma wheel. I supplicate with my palms joined together those who intend to demonstrate nirvana, to remain for kalpas as numerous as atoms in the realms, for the welfare and happiness of all beings. I dedicate whatever slight virtue is accumulated, prostrating, offering, confessing, rejoicing, beseeching, and supplicating, to enlightenment. Page 16? 14. Okay. Page 14. Om Baba Jamba Janda Jupala Chansa Loi Jinya Soda Chuchu Jekada Nandu Zoma Jekpa Meye Shenge Kun Dake Malu Deda Damjela Le Dang Aye Dang E Chantiyo Sampo Chupe Molan Todaki Gyawa Damje Yiki Monsundu Shenge Dunye Lura Tupaye Gyawa Kunla Raku Chaksalo Duje Tena Dunye Sanje Nam Sangye Kiki Una Yopada Deta Choje Yena Malupa Tamje Jawa Dake Kamwamo Deta Napa Meze Janso Nam Ayanje Yela Janso Drakunje Jawa Kunje Yonten Rabjo Jing Dewa Shekwa Tamje Take To Meto Tampa Tengwa Tampa Dang Sinye Namdai Chupa Tujo Dang Mame Chota Tupo Tampa Ye Jawa Teta Lane Chupaye Damsa Dampa Damdan Jichodan Chima Purme Rera Yampodan Kubai Chepara Papi Chukunji Jawa Teta Layan Chupaye Chupa Kamna Nami Yachewa Deda Jawa Tamje Layan
Jawa Kuna Chanse Chupaje Doja Jedai Temo Wangene Ludang Ata Dishi Yike Kyan Deba Dage Jeba Jinjeba Anteda Tanje Dage Susuya Chuchu Jawa Kundan Sanje Se Aranja Namdan Lodam Melodan Loai Kunje Sona Kamlayang Tela Kunje Jesu Dairan Kana Chuchu Jeten Ramada Chanja Rinpa Sanje Majanye Gombo Teta Take Tamchela Kolo Lana Meba Korwai Kwe Nyange Taton Kanje Teta Aduwa Kulai Penshin Deveche Dewa Yenge Dunye Shubhayam Take Temo Rajara Sovaje Chaksa Wadai Chuchin Shapadai Jesu Yoran Kushin Sovaye Gewa Shunze Dage Jesapa Tamche Sope Changchu Shibu.
Now to page 16. Please turn the wheel of the Dharma of the two vehicles and their combination according to the dispositions and mental capacities of sentient beings. Senjen Namki Sampada Loye Chitwa Chitawa Chechoy Tumon Tepavi Chuki Kolo
Shati Jarbe Shavla Gujan Se Trime Wazra Toje Jingrada Mati Hijing Chedawa Tam Yeseba Gunjan Chuje Nyamin Tigong Chen Gujan Se Meju Jen Je Podanda Tilum Sanje Gunjan Onye Ronsam Choka Mosum Tondebe Zavela Me Shavla Gujan Se Kanda Jojor Dongen Jedana Derke Lomra Jorwa Kansuda Tender Dombe Chujen Charampeba Sambardo Watam Chendere Namo Yada Ege Dan Lodan Jige Tumda Tami Genamne Do Gunje Dake Chetamba Tam Jige Dake Chudendo. Good morning. Tinte da ngats train Sama de la Nyamte ngats zom. Tene ti tola ngata ji chu ke karsegore toba senare samba senare bomba nyamde chiha yo wata tene be karwa sambore yes.
Welcome everyone. It's so nice to be here with you all. And, coming together like this in the Dharma practice, whether it is the practice of listening or hearing Dharma teachings, contemplating, meditating, to have this situation where we can come together and engage in Dharma activities like this is so wonderful, and it really is evidence of our great fortune. So we can feel a sense of gratitude in our good fortune.
That in the Teneta Zonga to Chuchis, Laviati, candidates, district Hakogre, Tindita Zokasananga to Chuchi, love the Chuchiaki, Carcine Chigiores, Lavina, Tene, Ramasoki Jula, Tene, Metzindik Nane. Semke June, Devayowa, Troyowa, Mamboji, Yunguyore, Tatanyam de la, Teneyan Semke Tengne, Jingazoki Jula, Nyumomba, Yowa, Nyumba Teyan, Tene, Tanyumba de, Konasobaji, Yunguyore, and Gahizam Notambina, Sindike, Jing Debi Nala, and some Ganyu experience. Tindike Tone, Ganye Chung, Ganye Chung Batella, Tene, Carsegole de Ganye Tilata, Wachando with Hachi, Wacha some no down with Ganye Tini Chung Song Sambachina.
Say di or say mama.
Sendendo in the wa. O Tindike Tene. Wachatella, Teneta, Wachagrova. In that zoo, Carsina, Gazudi, Catson Contuban on Yere, Catsa get on the gaze at Yorwa, Sonam Kilet, Sona Maimbi Kileni, Tangatsudela, Contemando, Yung de Yorwa. In a tea late in Caresana, Sona Maimbi Kilenda Wimbina, was a Sankjula, Wachaji Shade Yore. Tangbo Mitsendi Nala Ganyan Road is Chung, Ganyan Chune, Telayang, Yangjo Somnotane, Tenisho Cherry Rodeachi, Yungyorwa, or teach or the Tanga to Chuchidu, that have she chichi, Tuzolati, some no mataya, Tayang Pantovia, Telenyan Bodea Chitoya, the kitchen bodies.
So when we speak of Dharma practice, what is it that we're doing and why? So in our life, there are many experiences that we have. There's a lot of happiness, there's a lot of joy, but there's also, a lot of pain and a lot of suffering. And when we look at the mind, deeply, we see that, a common thread throughout our experience is this, the activity of the afflictive emotions, the afflicted mind states that are kind of like the undercurrent of everything. And so there's a lot that arises in the mind, all sorts of different things. And all of these different, all that arises is really based on karmic imprint, because we create, both in this life and also in former lives, we have created certain imprints, and some of those imprints then get habituated, so they become stronger based on repetition, based on returning to those thoughts, elaborating on those thoughts, and whether thoughts or activities of body, speech, and mind, everything creates imprint, karmic imprint. And so just as we've been discussing in the context of the Mahamudra program, there's the distinction to be made between what is wholesome and what is unwholesome, or what is virtue and what is non-virtue, or what is merit and what is not non-merit, or the opposite of merit. So this, every time that we have certain, like for instance, if there are hardships that occur, when we grasp onto those hardships and kind of reify them and think about them again and sort of ruminate, and then we're strengthening that karmic imprint for hardship, and it becomes stronger. So when we practice the Dharma, we're training our mind to react in a different way. So what we normally would become kind of an increased imprint of affliction, we work with it in such a way that we can transform it. We apply all these methods that we have, skillful means, antidotes, to transform those mind states, to change those tendencies. Instead of creating, negative or afflicted imprints, we are practicing creating imprints that are wholesome and virtuous in nature, imprints that are the nature of merit.
틴데기 용야라 당가서 냠란치 그러와 냠란치 그래 제가 나기게 단당가 쪽에다 메게비케 레세나리 다지 강의 용야게 조체효대 간디지 연구요래 라비나 가서 유라 효첨부지 샘대요래 이러와 유라 조첨부 인반다고지 이러와 다 대인들이 유들라 기 상본다고요나 텔레찬도야지다 유들라다 랑게 지 가금이베나데 콩도사기요나데 되네 차도제기요나데 지 칸다양 다 유들라 지 디기멘도 삼비기 유들라 가서 현바효 첨부지 여러와 티쇼 첨부도 요비 좀 센텔라 되네 다 가서 샘기 되는 배 확차 하도고 샘나 디네 티인도 다 가서 디 추념나 치위네 가라 갈세나 그 유대 지다 달라섬노 마탕와 그 유대 요세기래 야보 요세기래 도보 요세기라와 배는 가서 강사 나버서 노당 미나야 뭐 참마 야보 말에 뭐 참마 도보 말와 건담나 여러와 된 지겐디 나란 담나 요세기래
Wait, 공다 미 야보.
고메 야보 요세기래 매 도보 요세기라와 지겐디 나란 상
누네진 미 데 야보 도보 니가요래 미 책나라 or 마레
뭐 책 말와
Okay, yeah.
이 윤도나 다 가서 윤담나 여러와 이는 가서 유를 또나 되네 가서 라마 여 말와 어떻게 삼모당 거 땅가서디 고배나 망보 쉬우지게 땅가서데 experience and a familiar much free like the free 세야지 yoris 로 디니다디 free 세야디 고지 디스테 고비 책들라 고 쪼반로 디스지 요다 잘라리스나 free like the 고 디스지 쪼반로 용도 틴디 인디 땅가 저지 지 잘라로 지 free 라나다 고지 내가 temporary district 다 용세기리 다 가리 free 고고래 봐 가리 free 고고래 라비나 퍼조 유티게 라나 온 맞으러 가지 다 free 고고 free from object
So, with non-virtue or, unwholesome karma, that which gives us difficulty and through which we create more conditions for difficulty or suffering, it mainly comes down to our grasping at outer objects. So we have strong fixation to outer objects, taking them to really be fully existent, and based on that fixation, there are strong reactions of attachment and aversion. So when there's something that we like or something that we consider good, we become very attached. We cling to that. And on the other hand, when there's something we don't like, something that we consider to be bad, we have like equally intense aversion, whether anger, whether jealousy, we want to push it away, we want to get rid of it. And so thinking, this isn't okay, this has to change. But in both cases, there's a very strong fixation, very strong grasping there. And that grasping is what perpetuates karmic imprint, karmic imprint of affliction, whether attachment or aversion. So a very important aspect of our practice is letting go to that fixation upon outer objects. So not really thinking much about outer objects, instead turning the focus internally, making the focus and it be internal and looking directly at the mind. So when it comes to outer objects, people, interaction, so forth, really we don't have to concern ourselves so much. Is it good? Is it bad? Do we like it? Do we not like it? There may be a person, this person might be good, this person might be bad, but really it doesn't have to have so much bearing on our own experience. There's all sorts of different phenomena externally, all sorts of different types of people. And if we are getting too invested in the object, we really lose our independence, we lose our freedom. We're giving the power to someone else, what the power of what we experience in our own mind is turned over to someone else, to external things. So, we have, we really value this word in the West and, in general, the word freedom, right? Free, and even just free, we can think of what that word free kind of brings to mind when we think of it or when we say it. Even something that like we become we feel happy, we feel, uplifted. If we get some object, some material object that's free, then we maybe feel excited, we feel happy, we got this free thing, for a time, for a short time.
Can be junk. But free.
But what is freedom really? Freedom from.
You.
So true freedom is freedom from objects, outer objects, from grasping to or reliance upon external phenomena. So that is really true freedom.
I have a question. Ngazota solo days, gomjas, chingda karsek sem de nampo commando machubasana. Chiglabgido the country's chigores.
So he is asking you a question. So when you meditate, and we meditate and we say, we naturally settle, we relax, we open, and we don't di namtoki wangla madro. So, and we don't follow after the conceptual proliferation in the mind or the thoughts that arise in the mind. So how does that happen? What does that look like?
How to do or something.
How do you do that? Shini?
Yeah, but how?
Okay.
I think it can tend to be something different for each person, really.
Okay.
These are all great answers.
So for me, it's sort of like when I was practicing exactly this challenge, I identified that I have wish to follow my habitual patterns. And when I'm trying to give up on this, I give up on that wish. I don't know how to explain it better, but it's sort of like that. I want to do this, and when I want to stop to do it, I'm not doing that. It sort of sounds confusing, but there is explicit wish to do
The wish,
something.
sorry, can you just, I'm having a little trouble following. The wish to stop following the thoughts? No.
That following, clinging, grasping, it's like there's
That's it, yeah.
intention to do this.
Uh-huh.
And when I'm stopping it, right, like I need to settle in something. I need to give up that wish or intention doing this.
The nune de samo tangna thana tene de namto Jesu draya ki test dupa drawache yorwa dupa. Tene de nune dupa de yang tes garela kokre de meba drawachana di nune kunlong nangla de dupa de yang de meba zogo drawo yore.
Okay, good. Let go.
So let go, the analogy of a bundle of wheat coming loose.
Okay. Sa kambo mambo damna, rawa guba ne damna, tene guba de chena, tene rangshin rawa chagi rawa.
Okay, that's good.
So I'm going to try to explain for myself. I don't know what it is, but for me, when I pay attention to like all the different sensations in the body, whether it's heat or coolness or tingling, it no longer is me, like how I identify. And so it's the same thing with thoughts. You can sort of watch it. So I don't know what that is, what that watching is, but it's very clear that it's not coming from me. I don't know if that makes sense.
Te pena dampo tena zubo nanga tsorwa dramanda yorwa, tene samsam pena dinchi kyongi yona, tene tsorwa di to nguzing yorwa, ini yang tsorwa di to nga yin rawa samba di yomare. Tene namto yang chikpa raware, pena ngegi namto yemba nangshin tsorgi yona kakarewa, ini yang gongya tu tene ngegi namto yemba ki de samlo tang chorwa mena tes chepar yore.
Okay, that indeed, I think that's very good, very good. Re da nga zo di karsena kargo yore la ina tanda kontu na ri da nga zo yu di free from the yu nga zo jik sem zi de grawa that in zimba de zimba lo la truwa te chome song do ka yeng zimba yuwa ka yeng nga zo start karcha yo na ra affect emotion mitsin di ken na ne ra 다 담만다 용식으로 배는 용 담만다 요식이 feeling 담만다 요식이 유일한 것다 직 자화당 당화당 다 담만다 요식으로 와 이나 다 탐치라 되네 당가서 직 로로지 데 랍드 다 로로지도 I enjoy 딘디 마임바 카르스나다 짐바데 단다 장라바나이레 짐바데 다 빠다 다 로고고다 차상 유일은지기 요나래 가리나 다 로나 되는 가서 다 로로 릴렉스 차그로 테마도다 틴딘 짐바 말리나 다 릴렉스 실라 맥좀 디비나야 다동 거랑베 직 코는데 지송 모은데 지송 다 아직 고도 코삼 틴디노 진나 콜홀로 말와이나 다고 수포 컨조지야 요 말에 디요레 맥좀 디요레 힘이나야 콜홀로 요 말아. 다도 담디 오래 하사야. 디인도 당가서 추치지 다 당가서 추치야. 나랑리요나. 제발에 나랑베 까라. 조가디 자첨보리 나라 네파 첨보요레. 얘네야 고가 더가랑 강 샤샤나 다 대기 기본 짐바창 봐. 예엔지리 다 짐바창 봐 예엔로고 와. 다 나랑 양만은 가서 라로지 공 디디나 되네 다 benna tanda wapa me ndo ya gombe na wapa me gon di na ten zimba ta ma heng do gro wa da nga so chetan de ha ko da tri nga so zo nyam lan che la jerem nyam lan che go ro jerem tele kar se na da ji bi khram ba ta la da nga da ya ten la gom ya yo ro wa o tin di ne da jerem ti ga la ji di wi na ten da zimba heng do gro wa 내가 내가 나 영어로 지 동어메 대화를 생각으로 지 갈래 동어대비나 다 뒤고게 라게 짐바데 갈래 현로 거래 와다 대가 나이다 샘지 내로 다나 야 of course 와
So these are all really great insights that you all shared, and it really comes down to what allows you to become free of grasping or fixation to objects. In the mind, ordinarily, we have a lot of fixation to objects, but when we relax and let go, and there's no longer that fixation, that is what really, so it is said, when, if we let go, in the absence of fixation, then there's no doubt about liberation. That liberation, there's no doubt about whether you will be liberated if there's a release of clinging, release of fixation. Where we get stuck is, when there's the grasping, and then the grasping generates affliction. There's so much that arises, so many different feelings, so many different thoughts, so many different objects that can cause us to get caught in attachment, cause us to get caught in aversion. So as you mentioned, relaxation is also key in this. When we relax, when we let go, when we allow, like John said, a natural settling, when there's release, then the fixation, this allows for the fixation to be liberated, to become liberated. So really, it is in regard to all objects, whatever they are, just relaxing and letting go, allowing for that release, and to become disengaged or unconcerned with the object, to sort of cut that tether of grasping, of fixation. Otherwise, when we meditate, if that doesn't occur, if there's not this release or this loosening of the grasping mind, then we just are caught up in ordinary habits of fixation. Oh, he said this and that, and or she said this and that, or did this and that, or gare.
Yeah, that's good.
Or I have all these things to do. I need to do this. I need to do that. And our eyes are closed, and our body might be relaxed, but inwardly there's still, we're still very tight. We're still very narrow and kind of caught in these ordinary patterns of conceptualization. So whatever dharma that we do, whether it's meditation, whether it's mantra recitation, meditating on a deity, these should serve as a place to rest the mind, that takes the place of our ordinary habits of conceptualization or fixating to objects. So, for instance, when we're meditating on the deity like Amitabha, then in resting the mind on Amitabha, we're able to let go of all that other kind of grasping. And so this allows for a feeling of release where our mind is just resting single-pointedly with Amitabha, with any generation stage practice that we do, or when we're reciting the mantra. we're meditating on the deity, we're reciting the mantra, and that itself becomes what the mind is tethered to instead of and then that allows for ordinary fixation to become released. So, if we're reciting Om Mani Dewari and we're just resting with the essence of that mantra, then again, this can allow for a letting go or a loosening of the fixation in the mind and for some meditative concentration or collected, single-pointed concentration to gather, develop.
that the internet that and la imba. Tigana ita sem can nelo con la habina tene, sem the mayingba reda, Zimba the Terabada, Yawahakur, Zimba Hula, Tine Trovatia Tomes. Khan Zimba Yovate, Trovatia Tomes. Oh, that tea in do tea get that and then got to jig that gom jagunare, Benatanda Contala, Hineinare. 어디 희네 곰 라도 칼스나 직 셈디나 다디 토르토고 말와 어다디 인도 조우 칼스나 다 유킨 짐바 치 유킨 짐바와 다치 유들라 칼스나 셈지킨 짐바 티토네 치 윤징기로와 어다 디기 짐바드 로나 어쩌다 단다 프리스야 차그레스
So ultimately, really, the practice is to rest in the recognition of the true nature of awareness without distraction. And so ultimately, fixation, even to an object of meditation, needs to be released. So as is said, when there is release of fixation, or when there is a fixation is released, there's no doubt about liberation. So there's without a doubt, there is liberation. Or freedom, if you will. So when we meditate, so for instance, with shamatha, we need to practice shamatha initially, but ultimately, even just having one single-pointed focus or object that there's some grasping there to that object, then there can't be liberation if there's any grasping. So even just resting on one object, the kind of ultimately that too needs to be released, and in that awareness that is completely and utterly free of any fixation, then that is true release. That is true liberation.
that hindu, that's what the Tanda Kont Cuba Nagiri Matson Yamne, the Tatan that the young Laportuki, Wapa making Yamlentela, Tangas of Tambuki Big Ramba Sundu, Torchina Lapsa, you said in the young. Jerem tela chi kla, wapa mi jia gugu yores. Wapa mi jia tela, da ngatu di bena wapa mi nyamlen do china kandi chi gore sena. Da zanga chu tela, ni jia zo ni ke to ni chi gugu yores, nyamlen chi gugu yores.
So in the practice of secret mantra, whether in this case, for instance, we're practicing Amitabha, so we need to have both the stages. They're the generation stages and the completion stage. We have to have practice both the generation and completion stages.
Da tindu, da chi ke hatela, jitanga zotela, da nga zojikina maybe tomorrow too. Yina nga zoketa lati wang tobe ne kabla ta rang wopa me gungurwa. Rang wopa me gumyati kharisena tene 직 라텔라 랑키탄다 루샤타네 데 마임바 테네 베카르세나 나통 소운도 조비 다니 텐디제글라테 공부레스
So there's the, we have the appearance of the deity, the form of the deity. Maybe, and tomorrow, maybe we'll get into this more. But so we received the empowerment for Amitabha last night, and as is introduced in the empowerment. So first, what we're also doing is overcoming this ordinary habit of thinking of ourselves as ordinary beings, like ordinary beings of flesh and blood, and instead we are identifying with or becoming the deity who is the indivisibility, or the indivisible union of appearance and emptiness.
Oda tindu asani jerem ti tola ngazo jerem kedan khahe yore thadang tene je jerem tila jekda zewa khandi goguwa jerem tila tembo khandi goguwa sani shugis.
So tomorrow, as he said, with the generation stage, there's, what are the ways that we develop the clarity and the visualization, and how to develop stability.
What gana yita nga do tina tangi kontuba na yere ta nga zo di nga tela nga ke nupa thong tham men dong te karsena tene te zongre long nga yerme songdo nga ji dang be kabla tene sem mayin ba nga thgarang dona tene ji nga dang di nga dang tene long ni po tene yerme wa nga 근데 봐도 통구요 와. nga 되게 카게 단어지 nga 농구 요나. 되네 지 디게 냠돌라. 되네 지 가르세 거래. 야 뇽모 바세나리 세미행도 요나. 되네 롱들라. 되네 골룽아 예메 차고요 말이스. 롱들라 고지다 뇽모도 리노 거리스. 배는 가서 롱 예와 체비나 되네 지 뇽모비 롱탕 이힐롱 세야지 요르와. 어디인데 세 마인 위나 이 힐롱도 잘 요리스.
So when we practice reciting mantra, so the mantra becoming, really having power, there, whether or not there's power in the mantra, this depends on how we practice. So for instance, the mantra or speech and wind, or mantra and wind, are an indivisibility. And so when we're reciting mantra, when the mind becomes really present and undistracted, when there is no distraction there, the mind is really stable and united with the mantra, then the speech or the recitation, the mantra and the winds become united. They become an indivisibility. And then that is what allows for the mantra to really have power. So on the other hand, if we're, reciting mantra with our mouth, but our mind is kind of going all over the place, our mind is really not united with the practice, then that doesn't allow, really bring power to the mantra. So there are two types of wind in the mind. There's the afflictive emotion winds and the wisdom winds. And so when the mind is concentrated, when the mind is not distracted, then this allows for the wisdom winds to take predominance, or to kind of then when that recitation becomes a recitation that is occurring with the wisdom wind, and that brings power and energy to the mantra.
아니나 다 노르디도 휴비나 ngazo jerem gungu yonale nga rang yonare 직다 gom one jagi yubi na reta ji khan ke ji yu khan khanda je ki yimbi ne yang tel rang ke ji manu ya te khasan chi nan zimbi ki sem zondo nan zimbi ki sem ti ki yu le manzi wa ko ti ni poji ta ko gam da ji lo lo chin te ne di ta ya
Ang simpe sem kare kunta.
어떤 지기도 하다데 하고 리얼리티 카르도 라비나 조 셈러와 셈게 카르지기 오래람나 유진 지고다 지기도 하고도 그 셈서 hil로 당가 저 돌로 요 말이다 이해나고다 지 depends 양면나 당보 난진비키 셈티케 지 태양 참샤 토비아로 양면나 난진비키 셈지 유리파 초네 유티간을 레터디
Yangna nang simpe sem.
너네가 셈 당보고는 셈 난진비 셈 내와라와 셈 솔로치 남도 마요와 남도 요 마도와 코라 유티간 마요와 텐데 로디 톱나 다 라브라와 텐데리스 다 템미비나 테네 다 난진비키 셈티키 요네 치 유라다 지 파기라 카르세고 삼보 두보 야보 칸니 티간라 지 레베 까블라 양 셈티기 템베크도 찌시네 티키지 카르세 컨티뉴에이션 마인바 테네 샤토비아다 다 니니요 사레스
So kare gangla jagi yore te kala te pena.
다 유튜브나 유텔라 테라와 유텔라 셈기라와 고메트 약보도 노지 삼나 양메나 메트 두보도 삼나 다고 셈기 남도 제바리 유텔레 셈바라와 이다 디게라 가서 참샤 송도 오테네 다 템베키 제시노 다가디 남도데 고멘도스 성보이나레 간디나다 테 템베시네 데 참샤네 양 셈드 네토바
So whether we're practicing the generation stage, we're reciting mantra, or whatever type of meditation that we're doing, ideally, so everything, it really comes down to what we're doing with our mind. So there's the inwardly kind of apprehending or grasping mind that is grasping to or engaging with or fixating to outer objects. So when there's an absence of grasping completely, then one is just resting in awareness itself, without fixation, without the inwardly fixating mind, or grasping to outer objects, without subject-object fixation. Or there is some level of fixation going on, so that's the best, that's ideal. But otherwise, there is the fixation of the mind is occurring, but one is still resting with awareness, mindfulness, which is seeing the grasping of the mind as it occurs. So, there's either, attachment to objects that are identified as positive, or aversion to objects that are identified as negative, or there's all the different thoughts of attachment and aversion. And so when there's mindful awareness of these thoughts as they arise, there's kind of the acknowledgement of, oh, okay, I see what's happening in the mind. I don't want to follow up the thoughts. So there's mindful awareness there.
Okay. So before we reading the transmission, so you have some few questions or comment.
So my understanding is even though we're relaxing, we're not to go into a dull, listless state. We're supposed to be kind of wakeful or attentive to awareness, or although awareness isn't an object that you can, what is it?
Do you want to just say that, like, should there be clarity there?
There should be clarity,
It should be
yes,
vivid.
there should be vividness or presence, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. That is, young deteriorate wa ta thangbo thing ngaso the priority kharisena jik sem to ko nam to want mando wa chiate keche moro wa that teres that he to la sem ki jik ngaso the jik rawando to jik nam to ke want mando wa tindi jik cha to bi na that jibun degree besena jibun degree wa mares.
So, like there's a lot of detail that we could go into here, but the priority, really, what we should identify as the priority is not getting caught up in conceptual proliferation. It's not following after thoughts, and when then there is some independence from thoughts, we're able to achieve this, and there's some freedom there. If we then think, oh, is that alone enough? Like that alone is not enough.
That in that teleyang ko sem negi yorite neba telate ne ta ngaso ji tezungdo obstacle rawoti ni yore islabdo.
And then once that freedom from conceptual proliferation is achieved, there generally, and the mind is really resting stably, there are basically two types of obstacles that can arise within that.
That in the das tarung sem nebe kawla chehotela chingu ni zongda the chingwa dang mugba zongdo da chingwa sena da ngaso ni kuya la soba dang tene ko karse ko da jik sem ke siwo heda mewa marita di tensa da ching sidu jik sem de da ko ni khu de ma ko ina da jik sem de ba ni kuya no lem do wa te mu pa ji du jik sem de thang ma thira me wa ta tela tene e ya zon dong jik sem de tene ina da zo de kar se na hine de ju jung bu gom be ka la tene sung do hine de la thang bo ni do tene dis ko se gres in de ke yo ma le sung do in thang bo ni ka ya yo ma le ni dis ko ni dis ko sa we ye la tene sem de tene jik ya dis dem ne semseo 우리가 기치트 되게 공고래 정도.
So of these, there is sloth and torpor. And sloth and torpor are like, so sloth is kind of like a sleepiness, a heaviness, where the mind is really heavy and kind of sleepy or lethargic. And then torpor is like an absence of clarity. So the mind is not, it's kind of dark. It's like a mental darkness. So now that being said, sometimes when we're meditating, and in particular, for instance, when practicing shamatha, we can get very sleepy. But rather than fighting the sleepiness, it's okay when sleep arises to just let yourself doze off, to let yourself fall asleep, essentially, while you're meditating, instead of trying to block it or fight it. That's often more productive. So it could be that you need to sort of doze off or fall asleep, and then when the mind comes to and you wake up, then the mind can be even brighter than before. So you can let yourself sort of doze off, but then come back with real kind of vivid, clarity of awareness.
다 이는 양 지카세고 양 샘세 지도 직단가 ordinary ke semsiwo jikbeta namtokpe ndamda hyade thi siwote labuyo samares. Atenuda jik hine gomjian tindila yang ko be ji gom tin hine gang ne song de ne ji nga so the ordinary ke ji mai ba korang be de dan night so hira ha ma wa do tinde form to grace la bu do be de nyama de dan night do ha ma wa to so jing bo tinde ta tinde wo na tinde ko ji hyu ji nga so ji kan be cha ya na ji laptop yo ma wa.
So also when speaking of clarity, like it isn't like an ordinary like clarity that we might think of clarity with like our ordinary consciousness where we have like the ordinary activity of discursive mind or proliferating thoughts. There can be a feeling of clarity in that, but this is a different type of clarity. So for instance, for those who are really advanced in shamatha, there's such a kind of deep abiding that can occur with clarity there, but there's not even like the concept of day and night even anymore. So it's not like an ordinary type of awareness. These is the Rebe.
Yeah. Also, they're able to abide, so many hours or like.
Tini yini ang salcha gi korla la gyoroa. Tini digi salcha de shine gombe gi salcha.
Da yina yang ko tindi ke secha yona ko sem ke deng la secha te yosarwa. Yosare shine be juring bo ne to yona. Tini yang korang kong la ko secha jikle bung yosare.
So in states of absorption and meditation, there's like a deep clarity that can be experienced.
Da tele karsena nga so tele da dewe ke karne de tingin zi sumdo dewa te juring bo yona te ne to yorwa. Pena ta nga so ordinary na wena chusu ni som dewe na te ne bomona zigire geba na zigire ta konda mena yong zigirwa. Yimbi yina yang ko dewe ke one hine kora yabo ji ne so na te ne ji kora lu kora dewo chin te ne kora pe karsa chut be 24 hour do divi na tene kangi me ko debe ngo ne gyo sarwa ina debe ngo thi kila tene tene jeli yang sem sewa aso te do de sem me tho lau do debe kinyam sebe nyam me to be nyam se ada so hine ke tene tene yon he sarwa.
So then, likewise, there's their experiences of bliss. This is, in when one is able to abide in very concentrated states for a long period of time, and it can become very, very blissful, so that you can rest in a state of meditation for hours and hours without any difficulty, and it's just blissful. Like, ordinarily, if we try to meditate for like 3 or 4 hours straight, we might have some pain, like the pain in the knees, pain in the lower back, it becomes uncomfortable. But when someone has really stable concentration and meditation, it's just blissful. The body, there's in a blissful experience in both the body and the mind that's really quite profound, so that that bliss enables one to continue meditating for a really long time, like even 24 hours, without any trouble. And then following that bliss, then there is like also clarity that can arise in the mind. So when practicing shamatha, for instance, we have these 3 types of the qualities of shamatha are the experiences of bliss, clarity, and non-thought.
Okay. So you have some questions or comments?
I have a question, Drupon. Hi, it's John. Thank you, first of all, for all your hard work, for being here, for teaching and doing this empowerment this weekend. Also, thank you to Virginia for your translating. And so my question was about, actually, I think John's question answered some of mine. You already answered a little bit, but when you said that true freedom is freedom from reliance upon an external object, I was wondering, like freedom from like reliance on an object outside of ourselves, like a nirvikalpa samadhi or something like this. Awareness without an object, and how this relates to then in the context of the sadhana that we're going to practice, in particular, true freedom is freedom from an external reliance on an external object, in the context of practice relating to the outer, inner, and secret refuges like the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, the Lama, the Yidam, and the Dakini, and the channels, winds, and the drops. These are things that we turn our attention to. They're vectors or tools that we utilize. There is conceptual aspect to that, and just relating that back to this principle that you started out with about true freedom from without reliance on external object, how it relates to the three refuges.
Dine de nune de rangwan nune ge rangwang de yu tamche la zimba mepa yona dine rangwang yorwa. Dine de zimba mena dine de rowa la de tome rawa. Yena yang penangatso data pena de dupta de la gombe katla. Dine pena yang de yu de gongyaya gi yu mekpa la soba yorwa. Yini yang de ma ze pena de kiamro yorwa. Dine de nangi kiamro or chigi chamdo, nangi chamdo, sangi chamdo, pena chigi chamdo, sanje chu gindu, nangi chamdo, kyabdo, lama yedam, kanro, dene sangwe kyabdo, tsalung tigle yorwa, dene di nangla yang zimba tesa yojire, di yang kyamdo gi rimba sum di yona, dene yang zimba di dang zimba mepa nangshin chaya gi drawa gande yor.
Wada di pejamena di separation go sarwa. Ngato karsena nyomombe kune langde beke yulen zimba ina di ki jyoti ko jikta kangi senare difficult chagyorwa.
We kare.
When a young mombe ke kuna lane swa, young kuna lane, telling us to chew and zimbayona. He can deal with it.
So he said, what, like, I think what he's saying is like, we don't have to go too far. Maybe that, like, subtle fixation to the three levels of refuge are good.
No,
but
this is, I think this.
Yeah. Okay.
Virtues or non-virtues, basically.
So we have to make a separation between basically virtue and non-virtue. So when we have like a full arising of the mind of affliction, and there's fixation within that the result of that kind of fixation is hardship, difficulty, suffering.
다 단다디 ngasoji kita chi jamro inare nang jamro ina sangri jamro de ko ramba hindo ko rang losu lo pa be ketene chegi yores tinuda tanda particular le thambon ro yimbina ngaso chi lama tengo go yore chi ki yutele jamro gore da te indu tele karsena ngaso zimba marwada karsena yutele tengo go wa yutele tebaji be ketene nupa tene 지 이치와 이치비 누가 티게 주테 가르치고서나 주 대발레 보여와.
So then what you are referring to, these different levels of refuge that become more and more subtle. So that evolves with practice. The experience of that occurs, develops through practice. So like in particular, at first we rely on like the outer objects of refuge, externally. For instance, we rely on the spiritual teacher or lama as our outer refuge. That is, for instance, not and in this context, we don't have to refer to that as fixation. It's rather a reliance. So when there's reliance based on a wholesome mind of faith and trust and devotion, then that becomes a cause that leads to like favorable ripening, or the outcome of that is one that is beneficial.
Oda tindu nga tsu tesungdo da jamni gonsho somri tene tang nga tsu da jetan jamru domba tela le thangbo bala da mine meta za chenbo de bomba lamro ji tsudu songdo wa jikta lama inare sanje domba tene gendu ti ki cho tene chu da lam tongye o tini je gogu yoro wa o da tindu tene
So as when we're beginners and we enter the path of practice, and very important is to develop this reliance on the objects of refuge, the three jewels, the Buddha, who is the teacher, the Dharma, the path, and the Sangha, who are the companions on the path. Dini gare? Yapo. Tishira gumta. Dini gare lako.
Oda terawa tela chil tengu guyores. Bana tega na particular tene tanga so tanda di ordinary lama tela tengu guyores.
And in addition to that, also the lama, the ordinary lama, which is, or spiritual teachers, is, it's important to rely upon these outer objects of refuge.
Ya tane rang sem temba ji top sona tene thama de le chorang la bana yi tene ta nank lama so le nank lama de karsena tene ji lama thadang tene sanje ke thoni ko yer me wa toya tene ta de ramba ni parawa tene ramba zamba de karcha orsena ta rang sem de ngo chu sona tene rang sem de yang tene ji sanje yin be na de lama yin na de chorang ke sem ni ko yer me wa to sona 다 가르세나 가지다 티 타토 들어와 what 마토 판다 지 라마도 이는 양다디 I think his caution is 들어와 가서 텔렌 짐바 말와 다때 하고 그랬어.
Okay. So we have to rely on these until our mind becomes really stable. And when it becomes really stable, then there is this understanding of the inner Lama. So one understands or has some direct experience of, the indivisibility of one's own mind, whether we say our own mind and the Lama, the mind of the Lama, our own mind and the mind of the Buddha. So we understand the Buddha, or we understand the Lama as the true nature of our own mind. So then at that point, then that becomes like an ultimate, the ultimate meaning of refuge. But until we get to that point, then we really have to rely on the outer objects of refuge. Very important. And the distinction that Drupon says he wants to make is, we shouldn't, especially at this point, think of this as being fixation or attachment. It's actually reliance. So to make a distinction between these two words of, fixation or grasping and reliance or depending upon.
어다테 당가서 reliance 차디요. 가르세나 ተ송도와 니마직 되네 다 겐두당 되네 가르세 추랑 하고 내로 또 소나 되네 베나 가르세 그 잠속기에 쳤다버리 정도와 대인들과 소지 잠속으로지 게고나 rely on the board 쳤고 고고와 이나테 고고요 된가서 땡고고래 때문에 가서 로토고 말와 이나 추 팔로 파 통소나 Tene yang zimba chine, tene kordina, te pen yo marwa, te goya yo marwa. Ta ko kisi chupar tongzona, tene kunga to ten go marwa. Tere is.
So, this reliance. So when it comes to, for instance, so ultimately the only refuge is the Buddha, and in that sense of the Buddha being the true nature of your own mind, but temporarily we have to also rely on the Dharma and the Sangha. But once there is the understanding of the true nature, then those. So the example that is given is that, we need a boat to cross a great ocean. And so the Dharma and the Sangha are like that boat. And then once we get to the other shore, then we're to the other shore. We no longer need the boat, but we definitely needed the boat, to get across the ocean. But once we're on the other shore, if we're still attached to that boat, it doesn't serve us any purpose because we've already reached the other shore. So at that point, then, really the only reliance or refuge is the true nature of the Buddha as the true nature of your own awareness. But temporarily, the boat is invaluable.
Thank you so much. That was a really amazing answer, and so beautifully stated, so eloquent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Drupon, I know you were saying that during states of meditation that you don't feel the pain and it's a state of bliss. But until you get that, I feel like since I have a spinal cord injury, I can't sit in the meditation posture for that long, and I think that becomes a hindrance because then I start to hurt. How do I overcome that part?
Re that is the Kalekaboro. Ina Yanko Sam Ketemba Tomna. Continuation Yamlanda China, then ko Sam Ketemba Toya Yosares. Sam Ketemba Monia Topina, no need rely on the body. Yosares. Iniata Tadanga to that body Dangrova, careful Chigrova.
So yeah, that's difficult. However, so the main thing is to focus on the inner experience of practice in your mind, that's like primarily what's most important. And then when, the mind becomes stable, then we no longer have to rely on the body, but and until, we have to take care of, you have to take care of your body, and not put, it sounds like he's saying not push yourself too much.
But Ina Yanko Sam Ketemba Tobina. Sam Ketemba Tobina, Nimaji, Luli Huji, Demagoa, and the Chapayosarova.
But if the mind becomes really stable, then really at some point the body becomes irrelevant. Like you no longer need to rely on the body.
You wish, right? You wish. But take time. And yeah, that's true, so some people, they dying, but is able to meditate. Bodies, maybe there's no functioning or whatever, but still they can, meditate. But also, I think the physically, I want to say to physically problems. So that is the human being suffering, right? So
the suffering of the human realm.
So we what call this birth, so we don't know how suffering, we don't remember, right? But that is difficult. And then aging, so we know we have experience. And then sick, so we have experience. So we will experience come death. So that's I think we are most human beings challenges. But same time, so that's why we have these issues. So I think very important to practice. So even though we cannot fix our body, fully, make younger or something. So I think the mind is also very important, So sometimes we relate it to the mind and the body. So mind is kind of maybe or worry or don't want to sick. So that's sometimes the worst in the physical body too. So because of
The
mind,
worry is worse.
right? And then even though physically sick, but your mentally is just still happy, except, it is just nature, normal, everybody's sick. So kind of you able to build your confidence, or I'm just my happy to sick, So that's then helps. And also, I think very important is we have practice, all kind of practice. So if you say really is the really helpful, myself too, I do practice. If you physically sick, so they really focus the medicine Buddha practice. So this just really try to focus, if really I'm sick, so maybe or 100,000 or stations or I don't know, maybe a million, but first, what happens, definitely better. So also we have, yes, if everybody probably wish, but also I need long life, so then Amitabha's practice, so that helps. But the mental attitude changes, so okay, we have trillions with recitation, long life or Amitabha's practice, but it cannot stop the death. But you kind of meaningful life, happy life, and definitely your longer life. But so that's I think kind of interesting. Some challenges, So the challenges we can sometimes through the wisdom figure out, Okay, I say I see the doctors or whatever, I do many things, maybe not help. But then you can do mentor, maybe helps. Also there is we call karma, the two different karma, I think everything karma, but also these two different karmas. One is the karmic debt, right?
Karmic debt, yeah.
And one is the what called this karma, the conditions, karma of conditions.
Like the conditions, karma based on conditions, I guess.
So this
Tegichen.
Tegichen. Yeah.
Eric.
So temporary, this karmic, this. So that is really 100% helps. So we can do mentors, purification. So that's, I think, yeah. Okay.
In the case of Beverly with the spinal problem. I know posture is very important, but wouldn't it also be okay to
Lie down.
lie down, or basically retain some of the features of good posture that alleviate the pain and allow you to dive deeper into practice?
Yeah, that's good. So main thing is we focus practice, so how you best way to practice, you standing, lay down. So that's I think that's okay, 100%. But worst part is, of course, sometimes we excuse, I cannot do now, as I say. So that's maybe a little bit difficult, but if you practice, doesn't matter how you positions. Okay? Okay, so do we have some? Okay, so now we reading the transmission. So Jumden did not want to. Longer one. This is easy.
Okay. So first you're doing the longer one. Okay.
So Jumden did not want to jingle job. Pemor again to one show. So started
So first he is giving you the means for accomplishing the mandala of the transcendent and victorious Lord Amitabha from the ruby garland. So this is the long, we were referring to as the long sadhana before, which will be sent to you all if you've registered through email.
Namangara dharma dharma gaya Amitabha ye kunde ye jawa dunde joje gondone rive ye nangwa ye deja sanje demi joje jumden angta tela chance lo jumden den nenjo khan he ke nangwa tha ye ge jingho la kyo na we ne nyam ga yi dong wu Ding ka mende la so go bu chazang ba ye so nam jar tan de mo chi sa nam jar hon be de tan den ba yong de le won ma ju kan wa dun de la to ro pen da wa jian koro de hyuje ji je gorwa thar ma je jan da do ba me ra ni ren chu je je yam ge thor jo do chang wu jian so je yu ji na ma chang wa da dang ma wa dang den de wa lan do de na mo za song gun de jim de nang da ye ni se ji dang jiang sem de jiang zo da song do la Da de jab sun je ma jora san je to bar sam je to gi to ram yam kha ma hong len som chang job do la ze be ge no yong den do ma la no som bon la che re teng yi ga len da na du de la o mo som ma ne som ma gra na ba yang gra na ba a na ho bang ga de me de ran da yang pe yen men go mo men jor be xian gam lon do de jian gon de je men de man jor ze be da to chen la do be de bong jian mo da jor ta zo dong de chen cho to ne chen ning de chen xian de du ba shuo hong she rang jie wang jian bian ma la to le ring yi chang zhen du Ding Jiao Chong Zam Rawa Kan Ne Men Da Dur Jian Go Ro De Chong On Ben Za Rak Cha Ren Na Pe Ma Karma Rak Cha Wo Dong Se Jo De Ngo Xiang Wen Jo Be Ze O Ma Hong Ke Yi Xi Du Zi Cho Ma Da Ar Ga Ma De Gu Da Long Yin Ni Xia Da Ba Le Zai So Ma Hong Sarwa Ben Za Ar Me Da Ma Ha Rak Tam Ba Ling Da La Hong She Ta Ho Na Sin Kun De So Na Ma La Mi Mi Ni Je Chok Long Je Sun Jo Za Da Ma Ga Bi Be Mi Den Do Rang Re De Chun De Yong Jo Ro Da Ni Je Tu Je Chen Bo Gon Do Ka Ra Xian Zum Jian Nian Do La Se Za Jia Te Jo Ra Nu Ru La Yin Yong Xian Ning Ben Ma Ze Long Jo Zu Ge Jian Nong Zo Ben De Liang La Ji Zhong Hum Du Min Je Dong Bi Nga Na So Ben Ma Da Ji Wu Ma Jia De Bi Ren Qian Zhe Qu Jie Rong Zin Bi Wu Shen Ma Ran Chun De Yong Jiu Re Bi Jun Den Gong Bo Wo Ba Mi Na Se Ben Ma Zhe Gin Do Wu La Zu De Xia Wang Ho Lo An Can Tang Bi Ji Ma Lu Zuo 조고 남성 전자로 장년님 장롱생제 샴니 도제지 종효 탕거로 배만답지라 점야 차도로 제네 세사니 데베세레 남기닝 참바상 제건도상 안건도상 랑도 창제 용소고 롱조조게 제남제 샴니지 종 변다라 효 텐다 장심상 줄라 년도게 롱소 제고론 동용토게 함무 做帮米真做的不等，那拉上也没把这工，工作呢送出送了，温州的钱香港呢，光把的危险了，把什么？帮米的工，看见到了同妈咪把钱张就红人都交的钱，他把别马过，这得本做俺的心着呢，得去就个证明自己家。 公婆那晚他也是早着强光爸爸见边对前头三年这些能给强帮工，工作上半年让着全做都用了么主啊结完，我们的钱先给老早嘛了吧，都结工了年的也是。 e ha he ma ha ga ne ga ji sha ya sama ya wo sama ya sa da hong je de jian da ye da bi xin je wu de jian xian ge la zuo ma le ba 他们因为点不了就是说，到时候各种各位强，在这都在红帮我上马也的展览，的不和的本早和红色多年那么大，我那一句节言了简单，这么没别叫我这些句句节的别些的用这个这些本早都把它学不当真的这些当年个。 旅客级别就让他们来这边个你老了这么大，就让一见面都在把这件这边发进这边来了不，这个本就碰到他把这说现在节奏刺激，现在解决了成绩都不当，之前那么大这边想了不，这个阳台铺什么他把这说，最近没有门山中面的，说把让这边讲了不，这个这边用手解决了。 Kurang kawar dewi namba je jumden parchin jerebi thola bu doku changsan doku changcho semen cho je jo je ro ron cho jen den xie se du zhen jo samden rang yin jerebi yang la yan la ngang den zin je ron mo la xie ro wa rang yin jerebi yang la bu do doku sami chu la chu ba la xio tab je rang ye je wa nang la bu doku sami pong pong a to xio xiang nam ma len je zhe wei lao zo la tab je rang yin 苏朗布周瓦根杰点着头把那小让也没留给我绿草地莫能太节节我能不打算这个上街头把那小健康的这嘎达去这个一些上节节我能。 周瓦根杰全年到把那小变得全年东什么年边啊，这就东家来都在没大的钱，现在叫我能不上面的危险叫我。 将了见别个把那也能路多些，怎么过节让的节的钱先给家娃弄了，不上木东你顶最多把那小的钱俺的别弄样别弄出去汤的娃啦把人的。 的钱先给家娃弄了，不到时候个什么也没多把那小就是那顿这些在他进领些上面这样从不够的钱先给家娃弄了，不跟的也没钱啊，多小红色姐妹群。 我应该在那么个别结为捐出去个南大爷，别马上给当天准备做广播完成，把那江浙多个月的周头把这周下碰啊人啊看啊用钱啊错几年大江叫我什么进周围台湾。 除了强制的多，今天王江江边头前头三年这三人男人强帮光，跟上年让金龙结帮帮，江阳新给六年拉都用到手给那么真大人。 那早俺的个的就这边先要忙了用着这边经过了，到时候这些区别都把这些。 用这当年今天往球头看呢，别个人在登山的一周，高了往周节我跟就见了我都是着这将起努的见了，那对中间跑跑进步个大大啊，当成都去年了。 没人查通去军先到我们那边面红是红豆豆看了边面的，什么人当的他妈的俺们的为俺结果上崩啊。 tung so ngang ten la wen do jia wa ma le ban tu jin gun de ge ye cha le chang sam de si jun ha bie hong ba yong se kang wa da chou ren de ji tu ge wo ze re jian do wa zhe do du nga da jiang 生前咱们这拉耶个达达金明啊杰达小猪猪去去龙年到阿弥陀佛这阿吽达嘛嘎啦阿弥达巴呀达汤嘎达呀二呀三贝达呀地呀达往萨瓦巴巴嘛心灵个日说话 다겐 바비 도가네 옴가라와자라 라유도 동아라장네 바바라죠 산남 거와 동바라죠 오마네 베메 홍 말레 와자라 장근토 사미니 니그 용제 강 동아라장네 바바라죠 라민 거와 동녀죠 오마네 베메 홍네레 와자스 본루 미니 그 보제 강 동아라장네 바바르 메놈 거와 동저라제 오마네 베메 홍 비레 와자라 ngô tu tu ni cứ yong khang ne dong ra jang ne pa pa ra jo tu ni cứ dong ba ra cho ma ne be me hong me le wa za ma bong ba ye da ni ku wu je khang dong ra jang ne pa pa ra jo ra ye da ku ro wa dong jo ra je o ma ne be me hong le wa za ra na ko tu Nyerbe ne ku wu je khang dong ra jang ne pa pa ra cho ra nyerbe nyerwan ku wa dong ba ra cho o ma ne be me hong ri do yang sa de chen shen du do sim chen pa be gu da da ta dong a je de kun de ri dong chu je gu o ma ne be me hong chep de chen bu nga ne da ho gong su so lo na wa ta ye de chen shen ke la zo na tu je ri do ne la se nga je bo se ren to ba ma lu de chen shen de jong ye ge to tu bi ne pa ro o ma ne be me hong se pi 红色红豆是别年的什么用叫了当地呢？没事头有小房子，头开山大大俺结果了都在下边红巴达，往海洋的话红皮做嘞做汤里见红啦啦，我有红去也没去。 红日东上街的这张林间，小马里多见个早几年吧，落叶浪的叫吧，南浪不，秋冬这个真的都叫了些，我们这南面的了。本咱们个阿红就我上街金店的左边上街那南面，你是长桥身边过着大大空的个松头，我这马路在那的说红是红的拉松，他们去呢，这个我们下来见着大概名上拉天边。 贵江老头叫着见天边阿妈的下着见住我跟的大跟的不拉天边送开钱老头叫着见头开红叶下着见住当年看拉天边头一钱老头叫着见老早个送头见老。 大跟我这头叫着呢，上街公怕年把年多少这边这边龙马就得哇前步一下，咱们阳康东北俺嘞，俺阳俺嘞龙俺嘞没见过的阶段都特别给这个中间或者啊嘞边的天路错在像俺都在俺学哇上面都最近做前步叫我们阿红哈好。 红军人他头的瓦件，那晚他一年四季，江山这种青瓦界，周边上街那么大，往前等的泡沫用心中用，拉索比的前行给拉做拉的这些，草间秋半步，古松土街我都做，十万的那个那做这本早拉开。 红色今天我不让他也，我没接头到讲，人家的前进来是。 一天往就头到岗，头到往就上面到，头前头到岗，写了本件件变样，啥也宁不头到岗，这把那么晒的那么给人，强帮工不头到岗，结果没别就这个，光头上坡头到岗，头到岗，你让给龙七王婆，周围这穷头到岗，都用什么帮没劲。 这大把一苗头大岗，经过了根基，他种了，个大的里头到马岗，的前现在他做了，头到年不岗位置，七诺日那把零一年当去，错在跟上穷，你就那样就是的。 제타기 솔라모지 멘토르 락타 초제 제 공조 예트 간yin 강 자바시 지jen가람 투동공라냠자야 간저 원당고 저조 아가람 공서와드만에 아데니메 나도당마 베소 공세 비제 파보라메라 ngakchi xingjian langmen zhong xingde zuoje langma xi jianyan huaji yingsun do jiuben zhenlian zhuoban zhou zhedang bangling da ka ye dian xingde qiujian kolo goro samjian namla dao de tu ji sei tan tamxia xi yin zhubi tongzi bi Nawan Taye Nyamja Zila Chanzara Do Gewan de Yendova Malubi Dungara Le Dora de Chen Laman Chola Nyurwa Ni Du Chuku Sanje Hyo O Dalan Do Kusem Chen La Do Chi Lu Lu De Hurma Ta de Chen Kan Do Ta Bi Shen Zun De Xin Chou Tere Je Ne Sa Jue Long An Ta Ra Jin Hyo Du Yi Xie Jum Den De Chu Jie Yin Song Ban Zi Ra Me Dam Se La Na Ma Rang La Den Rang Yang Wu De Ti Le Ye Jie Mi Ni Lo Cha Jia Qin Zi Mi Zhu De Long De Xia Hong 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 Pi 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 La Yang Tu Ge Tu Jie Qian Bo Ye Song Jiu 古着当教龙就是能生可人的前的接能他也这些学人家他见着完的接人世界这些学都到光就上也到长的都是这些学前把3年这把些那么个前把跟的3年让见龙前往帮忙跟的这边这些学3千他们的3年3000波拉3000波拉让那学 拉刚的这个一个的关注针对这题吧，他个这的几把的差不多是。
So that completes the transmission for the extensive sadhana.
现在呀，他第一几块呢，们还讲嘛，他从开始几多，他几吃多 logins。
So then there's still some supplementary materials for that he'll give in the afternoon.
的歌颂的开始。
So like the yore, dinangla yang yore,
Maybe
like the
something like that.
protector practice and yeah.
Okay. So now short dedication. Thank you.
Okay, to page 24 in the prayer book. By the virtues collected in the 3 times by myself and all beings in samsara and nirvana, and by the innate root of virtue, may I and all beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious enlightenment. May the teachings of the great Drupon Ratna Shri, who is omniscient, Lord of the Dharma, Master of interdependence, continue and increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara.
Thank you. See you.
So
2 o'clock.
yeah. Enjoy lunch.
Amen.